All right, so you want to make an outdoor environment from scratch, fast. No worries. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do. Let's make it easy and get you building right now. Okay, so to start out with, the first thing we want to do is have a 5.4 third-person project. Now, if you've recently installed your Unreal Engine, your recent engine, then you should have this Fab Marketplace tab. Now, if you don't have that, it's a simple fix. All you have to do is go into Edit, go into Plugins, go into the search, type in Fab, check the box, and then install it to your engine. Okay, and close that out. So that's how you'll get that. Okay, so we're going to grab all of our assets from the Quixel Marketplace. So follow me here to the content drawer, select the Fab tab right here. Or actually, we have already clicked it. So here we go. We got the Fab tab right here. And you'll notice that there's different categories. You got featured Unreal Engine products, you got Quixel, you got education, and so forth. What we want to do is get inside this Quixel asset area here and select one of these projects. Now, we're not going to download this project, but what we're going to do is we're going to create a filter by selecting the author here, which is Quixel. If you look on the left-hand side, you'll tell right here that the Quixel asset right here, it's got a filter here, so we're searching only the Quixel assets, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by showing you what we're going to grab first. We're going to go here. We're going to get a desert western ground rock course, and that's going to be 02, and just hit enter. And typically it's going to be the first one we see here, okay? So click on that, and you can see here it's got desert western ground rock course 2, and you can see the picture on the one we grabbed. Now, for this one, since this is going to be a surface and we're going to put on top of our other meshes, we're going to make this one a little bit higher quality. Now, we don't need to do the raw, but the high quality should be fine. And then what you want to do here is you want to click add to the project, like so. We can go over back to our third person so I can show you where it's at. We're going to go into Fab, under Metascans, under Surfaces, under Desert, and then now you can see that you have that. Now, you see these little stars here? You're just going to do a Control, Shift, and S, and that will save them. And we're going to do that for each and every asset, okay? So I'm going to go back to the Content folder here, go to the Fab Marketplace, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit the back arrow after we've saved everything. And what we're going to do is we're going to just I'm going to type in the different assets that we're going to grab, and I'm just going to show them on the screen, and then you guys can pause the video and copy them, because I'm going to just show it for 3 seconds or so at a time. So, all right, here we go. Okay, so now that we've grabbed all of our Quixel assets, we're done. We can just go ahead and we can close the Fab Store. Now if you look here, you got 50 unsaved things here, or you should have about that. You want to do a Control Shift S, And that'll save all those assets, which is very important. So everything is saved. Okay, now for the next step, we're gonna go into our content folder, into the Fab, into the Metascans, and into the 3D folder. What we want to do here is we're gonna select this filter and we're gonna select our static meshes, like so. Now, for these static meshes, what we want to do is we're just gonna select all of them here, right click, and we're gonna select nanite because we're just gonna make it a little bit more performance, these assets a little bit better performance based. So we got the enable 5 nanite meshes here, right? Then what we want to do is just do a Control Shift S and that'll save it. Okay, now the next thing we want to do here is we're going to adjust these collisions, okay? So we're not going to mess with this terrain here. So these two meshes here are going to be called distance meshes, and these are going to be meshes we use to detail our landscape. This and also the Sculpting mesh here. So what we want to do is we're going to open these different ones up, and I'm going to show you how to adjust the collisions for these. So let's start with this one here. Okay. Use the SWSD keys to scroll around. And what we want to do here is we're going to click on show here, and we want to see the simple collision, and we also want to see the complex collision. Okay. And right here on the right hand side, well, before we do that, here where it says collision, we're going to remove the collision. This is that simple green collision that you see that's encircling everything. So that's gone. Now, the reason we're doing this is we're gonna do a little bit better, a closer tight collision like we're seeing here. So we're gonna scroll down to the bottom until we find the collision category, right? Right here, where it's under collision proof, so that's where it says block all. Right beneath that, you got project default. We're gonna change that to use complex collision as simple. Now you see that pink there? That's the collision. So that's what we want to set up for all of these. Go up in the left corner and hit save. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do that for the other two meshes as well, okay? Now, the reason we don't do this for all meshes is just for performance. This actually takes up more performance from your project. It's more performance extensive if you do these collisions on everything. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and go down and do each of the other ones. Okay, now that that's all set, let's go ahead and set up our new level that we're going to create for our outdoor environment. We're going to do a Control N. Let's see, I believe it's Control N, I'm going to say. Yes, Control N, and I'm just going to grab the basic one right here, and I'm going to hit Create. Okay, right here, we can just go ahead and back out a bit. And then something that you want to keep in mind, so we're just going to go here to the top for a second, like this. And what you want to do is you're going to hit Control 4. Well, actually, let's do this here. We're going to do a Control 4. And then what the reason we're doing that is because, like, for instance, another thing that we can do is we can, if you look here with this outliner, you can hit the player start and you can hit F and that'll bring you to the actual, that particular item within the outliner. Okay. But if we hit just the number 4 by itself, because we did Control 4, we just bookmarked it. it'll give us back to this point here. We can do a Control Shift S. Oh, yeah, Control Shift S we're going to save this level. So to do that, we're just going to go ahead and go into the third person, go to maps. So we're going to put it right next to our third person map. And we're just going to call this dry desert, like so. And we're going to hit save. Okay. So we've got our level, but let's go ahead and select the floor. And we don't need this right now. So just select the floor and then hit the delete button on your keyboard and that'll get rid of that. And we're going to create our landscape. So up here in the left-hand corner, we're just going to go to select mode and we're going to go to landscape mode. Okay. Now, remember what I said earlier? We can back out of here. Let's see, like so. And what we can do is I'm going to show you exactly how to resize this scaling. Okay. So one thing you could do is you could scale it by just dealing with this right here, which is fine. But I'm going to show you some other ways that the size is influenced by the landscape. So let's go ahead and hit that back arrow to reset it back to normal. Now, right here, you got these 63 quads. That's inside this circle here, or inside the circle, inside one of these grids here, okay? So there's 63 by 63 right here. Now, we could change that, and we can make it 7 by 7, and that's going to make it obviously a lot smaller because we have less of that there. Now, we could even take it a step further, and we could make the section change to 1 by 1 sections to 2 by 2 sections. And what's happening is you're getting 2 sections by 2 for each quadrant, okay? But in this for this tutorial, I'm just going to do 1 by 1. So each one's 1 instead of 2. For the number of components, that's 8 within these squares. We can change we can change that. So we can go, let's say 2 by 2. Okay? And obviously that shrinks it down even further. Okay? And use the mouse scroll forward and back to adjust your movement to where you're not zipping around. And like I said, I really like this right here for this project because we're just keep it pretty simple. But we're not going to do the 7 by 7. We're going to go ahead and go with the 63 by 63. And all I did was I just hit 4 to jump back to this area right here. And you can see we got 63 by 63 and we got the 4 quadrants. Now, while we're here, let's go ahead and add our material, okay? So we go to our content folder and we're going to remove this filter here. And that's simple. You just go up here and just remove the common filter here. And we're going to go back to our content folder just to restart, go into the Fab, go into Metascans. We're going to go into our surfaces, right? Go into desert and then the high. And right here, this material instance, this is what we want to add. So we're going to just highlight it, okay? And then up here in the material section here, you're just going to click this arrow to select this content. So just hit the arrow. And that will make that, that's the landscape material that we're going to use, okay? So 63, 1 by 1, 2 by 2. And I wouldn't mess with the resolution here because it's matching it based upon the sizes that you've done. And then we just simply create. And look, we've got everything we need. Do a Control Shift S, and now we have our land. So let's go ahead and go up in the left-hand corner, and we're gonna go ahead and select the landscape mode and go back to the selection, okay? And then, like I said, I'm gonna go back out a little bit further, and then I'm gonna hit the Control 4 key again, just to reset the bookmark, okay? Now, what we want to do is we want to select our content folder, go to content. We're going to go back to our Fab Metascans, and this time we're going to go in the 3D folder, which is where our assets are. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to do the the static meshes. Okay, and we're going to grab these 2 meshes right here, and we're going to put them into the landscape here. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So we're just grab it, and you can see here, it's a very massive thing here. We can just scroll back a little bit, and we're going to go into our detail panel while this big obelisk of a mesh is set, and we're going to change its size, right? So we're going to use the lock key right here for the scale. Select right here. We're going to do 0.2, and that's what I tested out and I liked. Now, I mean, you can obviously adjust it for whatever you're doing in your project. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And then what we can do is we're gonna zoom back in and we're just gonna move this around until we get it basically into the landscape here, right? So remember, you got your WER key. So W is for walking the mesh, E is for rotating the mesh. Okay, like so. And W is to resize. But in this instance, I'm just trying to get it in here to where it overlaps. See this? It's going to overlap the actual landscape, okay? And just we're going to set it, rotate it like so. And you know what? You could even go a different route. You could like change it any way you want. Like it could be like this, right? W, and then put it in, and then drop it down. And depending, you just have to get in a good angle and see where you like it at. Okay. So me, I don't think I like it like that. I'm going to rotate this way. Okay. Like so. And then I'm going to lift it up a little bit. But like I said, the key is you want this little overlapping thing because it makes it look natural, right? We want a nice natural look. Now, for this part here, I'm going to show you this part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Alt key and do a left click, and I'm just going to drag, and that's just going to duplicate the actual mesh, right? I'm going to hit the E, and I'm going to rotate, and depending on which way I want, I might do it this way, right? W, and then line this up this way. Let's see. Actually, no, I don't like that. I'm going to rotate it the other way. I really like it this way. So W, and like I said, this is something you want to have fun with. And just kind of set it up the way you want it, you know? But make sure it overlaps a bit, okay? Now you see here we got this gap. So we're gonna use another mesh to fill in this gap here, okay? Let me raise it up a little bit like so, okay? So go back to your content folder. We're gonna grab and we're gonna drag this out. Now this mesh, we're just gonna drag it, put it all the way down, right? Move it all the way over here, okay? And if you can tell, we're going to use this little mesh to plug this hole. Okay. Like so. So obviously this is not the correct size for this, but we want to use that to plug the hole. So right here in our scaling, I'm just going to do, I guess it's 15 might be a good one. So yeah, and we're going to zoom out. Oh, we're going to zoom out a bit. And we're going to use this mesh here to just plug this hole here and to make it look nice, like so. Okay. Raise that up. Bring it in a bit. Remember, we want this to break up this little bit right here. And this is pretty good. Like, I mean, and you can always adjust it any way you want. Now, the same thing, the same technique I showed you earlier, we're going to hold down the control. Well, first we're going to select our mesh on the left here. Hold down control, select our mesh on the right, and then select the mesh in the middle. But maintaining control. Let's see. Wait, make sure. Let me do that again. Okay, so left, let's see. I'm sorry. It's yeah, control like so. Wait. Okay, so hold down control. And what I'm trying to do is select each one of these meshes, right? And then this is just another trick just to speed up the workflow. We're going to grab this right here, hold down the Alt key, and we're just going to drag this around. And then from this point, what you're going to do is you're just going to adjust everything and then set up your meshes the way you want. I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm just going to show you guys how I'm going to do it. Okay, so now that we've set up our distance meshes, and what we're going to do next is we're going to go back to the content folder. We're going to go ahead and clear that filter for a second. And what we want to do is we want to go back into our Metascans, go into the surfaces again, go into the desert, go into high, and then what we want to do is we want to highlight this, okay? And we can just minimize that for a second. And right here under the material, we want to match our material to our landscape for each of these individual meshes. And this is how we're going to do it. With that one thing highlighted, we're going to select this arrow and change each mesh. We can just go through and change each mesh at a time, like so, to make our environment more cohesive. Hey, sorry about the interrupt. I just wanted to quickly show you what the future thing's going to look like, what the future of what we're working on is, and this is what it's going to look like. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Back to the video. All right, so now our environment is completely all the same. Okay, now for this next part here, I want to show you some tools that we can use in the landscape editor. So we're going to scroll in a little bit because we're going to be inside of here. Okay. Oh, and also if you notice, I put a little distance mesh out there. So because when you're a player and you're looking out or whatever, if you're doing cinematics, you're going to see off in the distance this particular mesh. And that's why I did that. So, and you could put these all around. So, but that gives you an idea of how to effectively use distant meshes. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and continue. So right here under select mode, we're going to go back to our landscape. And this is where we're going to use some tools. Okay, so for this one, we're going to start with the sculpting tool. I'm going to leave the strength the same, but I'm going to reduce the size of the actual brush size so I can show you. So I want to show you something just to make your workflow fast and easy. We're going to click on the same spot here, make it kind of tall. Let's make it real tall. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make another one over here, make it kind of short. See that? That's not that tall as the other one. Okay, dramatic difference. So this is the sculpting tool. We want to use it to elevate our different areas for our landscape. And then what we want to try is using the flatten. Now this flatten, let me show you how to use this. This is really cool. You can just left click and drag here. Now you can reduce the tool and everything, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. Well, no, I'll reduce it a little bit. I'm going to reduce it a little bit. I'm going to make the brush size a little bit smaller. And what you can do is at the peak or the height of whatever landscape you're dealing with that you've sculpted, you can move it to where it covers a whole area like so. See that? So yeah. Now, if you do that same thing on this one, then this will do the same thing, but it'll be a lot taller. And that's how we're going to use the actual flat thing here. Now, say that you start out here at the bottom, you can hold down the tool and do the flat, but look what happens. It flattens it completely out to wherever you were. But if you start at a higher point, then you drag it, it'll continue like so. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our erase tool real quick. We're going to erase all this like so. And, just to make it more efficient, make it nice and big. And you can tell we're just erasing everything like so, just to clean that up. Okay. Now, what we want to do is I'm going to do it again with the sculpting. And I'm just going to show you something real quick. I'm going to raise this up a bit. And I want to show you how to use this ramp tool. Take the ramp tool right here. And all you do is while it's selected, just click on it. And you're going to have to click again for another spot for the bottom of the ramp. Now, you can actually just hit add ramp here. And you see it added the ramp. Okay, and to get out of this, just go ahead and click on another tool. Okay. Now, I'm going to hit Control Z to get rid of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the ramp thing again, like so. And I'm going to click it here like so. And if you want a much higher thing and you want to go up, just raise it up. And another thing is you can also hit the N key and that will drop it down to the surface level. So, but for this, I'm going to raise this up like so. And I'm going to add the ramp and notice that it goes up. So now you've created something that goes up. You can create an up, down, or level ramp right here. Okay. Go back to the sculpting tool. I'm gonna hit the erase. And look, I can, and you can, the eraser is a tool just like everything else. You can use it to create crevices and rocks and stuff. So I'm going to shrink down the brush size while we're on the erase. And look, you can create like a little path right here that, and if you increase the strength, you can make it very pronounced like so. And you can cut through something like that. Increase the brush size, get rid of everything. One more thing, going back to the sculpting tool, we're going to raise this up again. And then we're going to do I guess we could do the ramp again. Okay. And the ramp width, we're going to reduce it a bit. Fall off is fine. Click like so, drag it out. And what we can do is we're going to just go ahead and add the ramp. And you can use a smoothing tool. And we don't want it this big. We're going to reduce the strength of the smoothing tool. And we're going to reduce the brush size. And what you can do is you can smooth it and kind of blend the ramp out. So that's what that is. So we're using the erase, the sculpt, and the smoothing tool and the flatten tool to create it and the ramp. And you can also use the erosion tool, which if you look, you can actually like create some like erosion, if you will, right? Because, we don't want everything perfect, right? We just want to, and, you can increase that strength and really give it some some crazy curves like so, because, in nature, things aren't perfect, right? So like that. Okay. Okay. So those are the tools that we're going to use. And right now I'm just going to erase all this. Okay. And I'm just going to we're basically going to create a basic, a canyon. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a speed run through it. You can watch how I create it. And then you've got the tools, and then you can see how I'm going to do the technique. All right, here we go. Okay, so the sculpting part is all set. It's starting to come together, but it still looks kind of bland. And I'm going to show you exactly how to fix that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit our select right here. Okay, and right here, okay, so right here, I would like to open the space up a little bit more, but that's okay. We don't have to. We're going to do something called pretty much dressing this up. So we're going to clean this up a bit for our canyon, and we're going to go to our content folder, go to content. We're going to double click, and we're going to go into our metascans and our 3D assets, okay? And we're going to do the filter again to the static mesh. And we're only going to use 2 static meshes. So we're going to grab this one here, and of course it's huge, right? But that's okay. We're going to reduce this to about half its size for a second. And we're going to use this to give it a little bit more personality. So we're going to drag this right in here, like so. We're going to drag that there, right? And we're going to unlock this. And what I want to do is I want to change the scaling of this. So I'm just going to do it through the widgets, like so. And I'm just going to reduce the size of that like that. Now, right here, I like to set these little increments here to where they're at a smaller stage, to where you can get a little bit more of a fine tune right here, right? So we're gonna do the resizing one. Let's see, 0.2. I think this one probably will make it more finely detailed, like so. Like that. Okay. Drop that down like that. Now you could actually turn off the snapping too. So for the resizing, let's see, I think it's, yeah, resizing right here. We can just fine tune it like this. We don't even have to use the increment thing, okay? Like so. And that's how you're gonna do that. So what I'm gonna do right here is I'm just gonna set this for the tip right here. We're gonna widen that up a bit, you know, and shrink. We could, yeah, I like the way that looks, down a little bit like so. And then what you can do is the W, go down like that. And remember, you can hold down the Alt key and you could drag and you could put that at the other edge of the cliff right here. And in the same token, you could hit the E key, I'm sorry, the R key for resize, and you could shrink that down a bit, okay? Like so. And you can always widen these cliffs and things with the flatten tool, and you just kind of play with it. So we're gonna do that one more time. We're gonna hit the W key. Yeah, W. Hold down Alt and drag and give us another little cliff hanger right here, like so. And we want to make sure that there's no gaps. Make sure it goes into the floor, okay? And then we're gonna grab our other asset, which is this one, and we're gonna drag this out here. And this is a cool little interior cliff wall thing here. And obviously it's not a great size, so we're gonna hit the R key and adjust it as well, like so, and rotate it by hitting the E key and W, and just, you know, just you have to play with this stuff, you know, just go ahead and put that right inside the cliff there, you know, like so. And we could do it that way, just like that, okay? And you can always adjust everything, okay? Now, we're only using basically 2 meshes for our dressing and 2 meshes for our distance meshes. And obviously we can't go with this color the way it is. This does not look good, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're going to go to our content folder. We're gonna clear the filter, right? We can reset the filters there. And we're gonna go back into or actually we can just hit the ground right here. Touch the ground. And right here, where it says landscape material, we're gonna go to it with this little magnifying glass folder right here. We're gonna, now that that's highlighted, we can just close that down. And we're gonna select our mesh, right? And we're going to use this arrow here, and it's going to change the color of the mesh to the same as the landscape. We're gonna do that for all of our meshes, okay? And you know, we don't have to change things quickly. This is just a quick, simple workflow when you're building materials or building landscapes for outdoors, okay? So now we've got all that, it's matching, it's looking pretty good. And the other thing is you just wanna go ahead and dress everything up, you know? And I'm gonna do that really quick, or actually while we're here, since we have our meshes. So I'm gonna grab this mesh here, and I'm gonna hold down Alt and raise it up. And then I'm gonna move it over here. And I'm just gonna add this mesh right here. And I'm gonna reduce its size because this one can actually be about a 2. Okay, oh wait, sorry. We're gonna have to go back. Okay, and we're gonna make this actually maybe a 5, like so. Oh, go back. Click the lock, now make it a 5 so it's conformed, like so. And we're just gonna raise that up a little bit and move it over here and put it in and set it right down here, okay? And then we're gonna go back to our content folder. We're gonna go back into the Fab, back into the Metascans, back into the 3D assets, and we can go to, let's see, our filter again. Select static mesh. And we can grab and just drag this skull out here. We're gonna raise it up. And we can just go ahead and go and whoops, like right here. And I'm gonna make the skull a little bit bigger just to make it visible, like so. And while it's floating up in the air, you can just hit the END key, the end key. Let me see. So select that, hit the end key, and that'll set it on the ground for you. So, like so. And we could slide it on its axes right here, and that's it. Okay, so now all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do another speed run through this so you can see how I dress things up and how I make things work. So yeah, all right, hold on tight, and here we go. Okay, now that that part's done, the next thing we want to do is we're gonna step into something which is going to be the foliage. So all you got to do is go up into left corner here. Well, first, make sure you always Control Shift S to save your project. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add even though this is a desert, there's still gonna be a little bit of wildlife that's here. And unfortunately, the Quixel marketplace doesn't have all of its assets because I would love to add some cactuses and things. But instead, I'm just gonna add a little bit of dead grass. Now, if you look here, we've got all the assets showing right here because of our filter. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go up here to the left, select the actual foliage mode, okay? And we got a place where we can drag and drop our different assets we want. So here's the asset we're gonna add. We're gonna add, let's just add any random one you can. Make sure they're very different. I'm gonna add about 3, maybe 4 of these. I like that's, let's see, we got, make sure. Just left click and a drag and drop. Let me see, we got that. Something that's, did I get this one? Let's drag that in there. Okay, so we've got 3 of them. Now, right here, what we can do is we're gonna add a little foliage here. And all you do is just do a left click, right? Like so. And you can even hold it down and just drag it out. But like right here, you see that's a lot of wildlife. You can hold down the shift button and the left click and drag, and you can clean that all up, okay? And that'll get rid of the foliage. But now if you want to make the density where it's less of the grass or materials, all you have to do is just do it right here. And then what you can do is you can just kind of add it like so. We can decrease the paint density a bit. See, and it'll be a little bit less. Okay, we're just gonna add some of this stuff right here, like so, and that'll give our scene here a little bit of life. And again, you can increase the brush size. So if you want it big, you can, or you can reduce it, you can, and you could just kind of fill it up with some little bit of life here. Okay. And then when you're done, all you have to do is just go here and go back to the select. Now, right now, this scene is great, but we're gonna have to go into our outliner, right? Go into where our player start is. We're gonna hit the F key to get that. Now you see, if we hit the F button and start, we're gonna start right down here. We're gonna grab this and just go up with it. Okay, we can zoom out a bit. Now we can see it through the mesh. So we just grab it right here and we're gonna get it to a start area where we really, really want it, okay? So it's gonna be right here and then to the side a bit. And we're gonna hover it over this area here, like so. And you wanna hover it up in the air a bit, make sure that it's over some land. And then you wanna hit the END key, which is the end key, and that'll set it there. Do a Control Shift S, and then you're all set. So let's go ahead and test out our project. We're gonna hit play. And you can see right here, we got this giant skull here. I would hate to see the animal that owns that. And then we've got our meshes right here. So we can kind of go right here, like so. Okay. Yeah, I put a little skull there on accident. But yeah, you can see we can walk over this static mesh. Now, let me show you something else that's going to be important here. We used a complex collision on this, right? But now if we even did it over here, see how we can walk on the mesh? It looks like we're on it. I mean, even the IK and everything's setting up. It's working for the most part, right? But now, watch this. We're gonna go to one of our far out distance meshes, right? And I'm gonna show you something interesting. Because they have the simple collision over there on the other side. So we're gonna run down our little ramp here and make it quicker. No fall damage, because we didn't program that. And you can see our little grass here. And then right here, you can see our distance mesh, right? But notice as we get closer to it, we can't get inside of it. That's because it's a simple mesh. So you'll get stuck. But if you wanted to change that, you could. This one has the complicated collision. I'm sorry, the other one's a simple collision. This is the complex collision. That's the difference. But when you make it a complex collision again, that's kind of what happens. It hurts performance a bit if you have too much of it, and depending on your system. But this simple collision here is, or no collision, will make it very easy, which is good for distance meshes. But so here's the thing. Before you leave this tutorial, something important to try. Look at this this actual video that I'm going to post right here. And this complements this particular terrain video, this outdoor terrain video. So please go ahead and click on this next video, and this goes hand in hand with this video. So, all right.